Let's do this.
It's time for Hanging with Langan.
I like that she's got a big dirty mouth that gets her in trouble.
Wow.
Stop me, 'cause I'm having a good time.
Hi, you guys. It's Maureen. It's me. It's Maureen. Are you there? So happy that you are hanging with Langan. This is my chat show where I combine my journalism background with my comedy world to bring you a show that is fun, has heart, and is smart. That is the goal of every show. And I chat with everyone from academics to alcoholics. We're usually the comics, and comics to cooks to curmudgeons. So we bring a nice mix. And I am so excited. So I hope that if you are watching this, you must share this. Just share. You'll see it right on whatever page you're watching this on. Maureen Langan's so professional. She has many places from where to watch this. But share it, because what I am bringing you tonight are 3 of my comedy buddies who have all landed roles on The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. I mean, it is the hottest show on television. And, we're in this crazy business. I'm going to get to them in just a moment, but you better share. It's only fair. It shows you care. And if you don't share, Don't Make Me Hate You. Oh, the t-shirt over my shoulder? That's my Don't Make Me Hate You t-shirt, available at maureenlangan.com, as well as masks and so many other things. All right, let's get to it. Are you sharing this? Let everybody know that they can watch. My friends. So, we've been isolated the past year, most of us in this world, but performers particularly. I have not been on a live appearance stage since March 12th, 2020. And I'm going through some of my photos and things are popping up on Facebook. And I go, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, Maureen Langan. You know so many really cool people. And because they're in your world, you don't take them for granted. It's just that you're like, oh my God, that's right. You're the big shot. And they're not, because they're so down to earth. So I have invited 3 of my comedy friends tonight to join me here on Hanging with Langan, a special time, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. And I think we might keep this time rolling because a lot more people are getting back to work. And I want you to tune in. And next week, I have Women of the White House, the author of this book. How great is this? The illustrated story of the first ladies of the United States of America. Love it. All right. So I'm going to bring them on one at a time. So excited. All right. Are you sharing this? Ladies and gentlemen, coming to the stage first, my buddy. We both used to make money. We both had dental plans once upon a time. Carris is the Greek goddess of comedy. She has performed all over North America. I don't think she hasn't. With people like Drew Carey, JJ, Jimmy Walker, Dynamite, and so many others. If you've worked with her, she's smart. She's sharp. She is a dynamo. And she is hanging with Langan, my buddy, Carris.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Mo. I love this concept. When I got your email, it was like, that's right. Maisel comics. We're there. I'm so excited. I couldn't believe it that you thought outside the box, like you always do, that we should get a couple of comedians that have been on Maisel on your show.
Well, it's such a no-brainer. And hello, Missy, because I'm so supportive of you and you are of me. I don't know why that's not front and center on your website, as seen on The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel with these beautiful, what photos? Oh, those photos you mean? Should those be front and center? You mean this one too? Hello. Yes, they should. And we're going to talk about what roles you played. We're going to bring in the other 2 performers. We've all began together. Ladies and gentlemen, he plays Dougie. Ellen plays a waitress. And my friend Ken Perlstein, let me give you a couple of his credits as I bring him on. He has guest starred in Showtime City on the Hill, HBO's Succession opposite Kieran Culkin. And his pilot, which I watched, which he executive produced, is How Am I Doing? And it's hitting the festival circuit. Please, without further ado, Mr. Ken Perlstein.
Nice.
Hi, Ken.
Hey.
We're going to get into all the stuff you've done on Mrs. Maisel. And you've been like killing it, man, with all these guest star appearances all over the place.
It's it's work, but it's good. I'm grateful to have it.
I feel your pain, you poor thing. It's work. You really. You have made a mark for yourself, and I was blown away by your demo tape. I was like, look at all this my friend has done.
Thank you.
And without further ado, I have known this guy from the Friars Club. He's a 3-time Emmy award-winning actor, writer, comedian, the marvelous Mrs. Maisel. He played Miles Shapiro, the MC, and the Catskills. And we'll talk about whether that was, a caricature or if that's really how the Catskills are. That's how the Catskills really are. He is the author of Good Luck, Mr. Gorski. That's a novel. And he's a fine artist. And I was blown away by that. Welcome, Mr. David Konig.
Oh, I'm on. Oh, this is. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Can you hear them? I can't hear them.
You guys chat amongst yourselves while I figure this out.
We were talking amongst ourselves when you weren't there right before we went on air. Yeah, we were.
You keep talking. We'll try and figure out how to plug this in.
Okay, we're going to put you. You want us to put you in the back for a moment until you sort it out?
I don't care what you do.
There we go. So, get it sorted out. I want to know, let's start with this. How did you land your roles on The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel? Ellen, you play a waitress.
I do.
In a diner.
Yes. It's the Stage Deli. And we are now in our 4th season. So as a matter of fact, I just worked last Friday and I worked the month before that. So I started on the 2nd season. And I honestly think that I got the gig because I fit into that uniform. So and I have to tell you, when I first went for the fitting, I mean, it is tiny. I'm tiny.
You are
tiny. And I remember the button around my waist was a little tight. And I remember that one of the costume women were like, one said, how does it look on her? And it's like, oh, okay. Is that a little tight? And I'm like, no, it's fine. It's fine. I couldn't breathe, but it's like, it's fine. It's fine. And then the other one goes, because if it doesn't fit, we'll have to get somebody else. I go, it's going to fit. It's totally, it's going to fit. I'm not going to eat. I'm a hunger strike. I am like Kate Moss.
Oh my God, you're like Navalny in Russia. That's not good.
Yeah,
That's not healthy.
That honestly, I think is really how I got it. And my big fear was after the year of this, being home and the grazing and the binge eating, and I love sweets and chocolate. When I got the email to come in for the fitting, and it's the same uniform, by the way, I was like in panic mode. So, but thank God I do work out, and I think that really was my saving grace. So I still fit in the uniform, so I still have a job.
So are you telling me honestly, do you believe that if you didn't fit into that, they would rather just get somebody who can fit than adjust the outfit? That could be, you don't know.
Oh no, I totally believe that. Yeah, for sure.
All right. So what I want to know, and I'll ask Ken this now, how did you land the role? Where did you audition? Who called you in? Tell people. I know how it works, but many people don't. Let me ask Ken first.
Okay. Well, I finally got representation that was sending me out to decent stuff. And they got me into Cindy Tolan casting, and that's where you have to go. And she's great. The one thing you have to remember with Maisel is that you can't ad-lib. Do not try to ad-lib. Not one. None of that shit.
Really?
Nope. And you just got to have the timing down. It's really quick. Ellen knows. And
Langan knows I would do very well. Okay.
Well, absolutely. So I got in there 3 different times, for different roles there. And then the 3rd time was the charm. I got a call the next day from my agent. He said, you're going to the Navy Yard for a callback. And it was...
well, for people who don't know, where's the Navy Yard?
It's a Brooklyn Navy Yard. It's
okay,
a huge set of studios now.
Steiner Studios.
Steiner Studios, yes. Mm-hmm. And it was, I just remember I didn't want to, be late or fuck everything up. So I took an Uber. And I just remember just being lucky that I was there. Like, no matter what happens today, even if I don't, book this, at least I got to be in front of Dan and Amy Palladino. I mean, that was a oh shit moment. But they were great.
Fantastic. I love hearing this. Now I'm going to bring Dave Konig in a moment, but Ellen, I want to hear how who casts the marvelous Mrs. Maisel again?
Cindy Tolan.
Cindy Tolan?
Tolan, yes.
So Ellen, how did you get called? Ellen is of Greek descent. Ellen is a committed woman. She's passionate about her culture, her history, her religion, and she shares it with such love. And we know stereotypically who are the waitresses at diners? And who are they owned by?
The Greeks.
The Greeks.
Although this, I believe, would probably be a Jewish diner. But as we know, when it comes especially to the restaurant business, the Jewish and Greeks are incredibly similar. Well, similar actually in a lot of ways, but certainly that. And I think that's a great point. Mine was more based on a look. And I think because I look like I would work in a diner because of the whole Greek thing, I think that helped a lot. The dark hair, I think, helped a bit. I think more women had darker hair. It's New York. I mean, I just look like I fit in that place. And funny too, and big kudos, and we can get into it if you want, but to the hair and the makeup people.
They were awesome.
We're going to get into that later because
they are true artists, but they also look at you and know what they can do and how they can transform you.
Yeah.
So, but mine was more from a look, and mine was Grant Wilfley casting. So they cast a lot of background. Mine was considered, though, a featured background.
I screamed the first time I saw you delivering a dish to the table because I didn't know you were on the show. Same thing with Ken. I'm like, what's happening? I get really happy. And then I get angry that I'm not on the show. No, I don't. I get very happy for people. My guests are comics who have been on The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel or on The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Shout out to Joy who's watching and to Annette. Share this, you guys. Hi, Peter. Share this. We want people tuning in. That's what matters here. And, it's always on all the major podcast platforms. But check it out here. So, Ellen, Karis, Ken Perlstein. Let's bring in my friend Dave Konig, who's out of his friggin' mind. But here he is. Hi, Dave.
How about now? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Ken can hear me. Ellen can hear me, but Maureen can't.
Yeah.
I'm just fucking with you. But anyway, hey, Paul Hamilton watching. David, I've worked with you so often. You're a fantastic natural MC. It's in your blood. It's what you do. You're not as schmaltzy as Miles Shapiro. But I would like to show a clip of you as Miles Shapiro.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm listening.
I'm going to put you in that back room, mister. Okay.
I hate the lighting, by the way. My lighting is terrible here. Don't you think it's terrible? I'm all washed up. Ken looks great. Ellen looks great. You look great. I look like the ghost of an old Jew. I don't know what happened here.
No, you look fine. You look like
the world. All right, go ahead.
I want to show a clip of you playing Miles Shapiro. This is at a club at the Catskills on The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Here we go. Check this out, you guys.
No, but my wife is great. But get this, she's jealous of our toilet because I spend more time on it than I do on her. She says I should be more attentive in bed. Now, I'm in bed. I'm not fast asleep. I'd say that's pretty damn attentive. Because it doesn't help much that I'm going bald on top, but I got hair growing out of the tops of my toes.
You want a drink? I'm good. This guy's nothing. You can beat him. It's not a competition. Well, yeah, it kind of is. You gonna do the shopping bit?
It's not ready yet.
I thought it went good the other night.
It's not ready.
Okay. You have a thread.
You're up next.
Finally.
Let's go. Thank you. I'm Miles Shapiro. I'll be at the Trap in Hoboken for a full week in December. So hop on the H&M. Come on out and keep me company. Good night, everybody. Next up, onto the stage, a pretty lady with a lot to say. Ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Maisel.
Hey, wait. We didn't do tits up.
Tits up. Tits. Good evening, everyone.
See, the lighting is much better on the show than in my room here.
All that matters, David Konig. That's all that matters, baby. Such a great role. And because I know you, it's you plus...
It's me plus very bad jokes. Yes.
Oh, I thought you wrote that. I'm sorry.
No, I didn't write a word of that. No. None of that was written by me.
It's saw you in that role. Didn't know any of you were on this show. And you scream when it's somebody you know.
Imagine how I felt.
How did you book it? Tell us.
How did I book the job?
Yeah.
All right. The first season, they bring me in a bunch of times. Parts I'm not right for, I never get anything. But obviously, they must have liked something about me because they kept bringing me in. Now, nothing happens first. Second season rolls around, right? First episode of the second season, they bring me in to audition for a part of an off-camera voice, okay? I'm a guy calling on the phone. I book the part. Now, I'm irritated and upset because I'm thinking, I got to get on this show. I got to get on this show. I get on the show, and it's an off-camera voice. I said, but they said, no. It's okay. It won't preclude you from coming back and auditioning for another role. I said, okay, great. So I booked. So the first episode in the first scene of the second season.
And this is the math equation. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, Susie's at home, and she gets a call, and it's a booker from Philadelphia. That's me, and I want to book Mrs. Maisel, and we have a funny little phone call. So that's what I booked. Now, before I go in to shoot that, they call, and they say, would Dave, as a favor, would it be okay, could he come by and be a reader at a table read for another episode? Okay?
Yeah.
So they bring me in now for your viewers who don't, the first thing you do with a script is you get the cast around and you have a table read. Everybody sits around the table. Sometimes when they haven't, it's an episode that has yet to be shot and they haven't fully cast it yet. They have the regular cast there. And then for all the other parts, they bring in a couple of actors generically to read the other parts. So I had booked the off-camera voice. Now they bring me in to do the table read before I shoot the off-camera voice. Okay. I'm doing the table read. The whole cast is there. Amy Palladino Sherman does something nobody else does. She gets a big audience for her table reads.
Oh.
No one does this.
Oh, that's interesting. I'm surprised.
Huge. She packs them in. She gets an audience, literally like 150, 200 people at Steiner Studios in a big room. And
that's in Queens, right?
That's in Brooklyn. That's the old Brooklyn Navy Yard.
Yeah, that's what you said.
And I once had an audition for another show at the Brooklyn Navy Yard when it first opened up, and I was irritated because it was such a schlep to get out there. And I called a buddy of mine, an older fella, and he said, "What's the matter?" I said, "I'm really irritated. I got to take a subway and a bus, and it's for a part with one line. It's one line. A man of my stature, one line, and I got to go all the way out to the Brooklyn Navy Yard." And my friend Joe says to me, he says, "Well, if it makes you feel any better, the last time I was at the Brooklyn Navy Yard, they shipped me off to Vietnam."
There you go. There you go.
Okay. So anyway, now I'm doing the table read, and there's an audience, 200 people, and one of the parts I'm reading in the table read is a part of an MC at a comic, and he's warming up the crowd in the script, and I see this in advance, and I think, this is great. I could get this part. I'm going to show them what I can do. I'm a comic, and I'm playing a comic who's warming up a crowd, and I have a crowd.
In the Catskills is where it's set.
Well, no,
but in your head, you've been there.
Right. So everything's going fine. Everything's going fine. It gets to my part. I'm warming up the crowd. I start ad-libbing. Ken, because I'm a comic and I'm playing a comic and I'm warming up a crowd and I know how to do this. So I'm working with the crowd that's actually there. And so whatever the line was in the script, say the line was, you ready for a big night of comedy? I say, you ready for a big night of comedy? And then and I get the audience there to react to me because I can do that. And then I say, oh, no, that's not good enough. I'm, as the MC, I'm contractually obliged to ask the question twice. So are you ready for a big night of comedy? Well, none of this was in the script. So I get a big reaction from the audience. We go around, and then Amy Palladino Sherman, she's reading the stage directions, okay? And when I finish with that, she reads the stage direction for the next part, and she says, the camera will now pan over to Maureen at the bar, who will read her lines exactly as written.
Oh.
And I'm sitting there, because I thought I was the hero of the day, and I'm sitting there going, oh.
Oh, boy. What, they booked you in it? Dave?
I call my manager on the way out, and we finish with the table read. No one says a word to me, and I see Kevin Pollak across the table. I do this, and he's like this. He's like, "Oh gosh," because this is I didn't know, strictly verboten. You don't touch a syllable. You don't touch a punctuation mark. This is Palladino Sherman. You don't touch her writing.
Ken, jump in on that part, because you had said earlier you can't. Do they tell you this, Ellen and Ken? Do they say exactly?
First of all, I was at the table read for season 3 for the very first episode, so there's a very large crowd. Amy's doing the stage directions. It's really it's beautiful. It's beautifully set, nice food, but it's controlled. Cindy Tolan told me because I ad-libbed something in one of the first things I came in for.
So much
It was a big deal. It was somebody I was auditioning for, like the manager of a club that caught fire. I'm like, hey, come on, everybody, let's get out of here. Don't stick around. And she goes, there's no let's not stick around in here. There's no stick around. And she goes, yeah, not one word can you ad-lib. Let's do this again. Not one word. So I learned really quick.
I get so anxious. Does that make you anxious though? I would be, because my brain.
I'm glad it was her. I'm glad it was Cindy and not Amy Palladino. I felt for you, Dave.
She gave me a look of death. So I'm leaving the studio. I'm calling my manager and I say, I don't know what I did. I screwed up. Everyone hates me. I lost the job. They're not going to have me back. Anyway, I go in the next week. I shoot the episode of the off-camera voice. It was all in my head. Amy gave me a big hug. Everybody, it was great. So now I'm dying to get on the show for real because I've only done a voice, and it's only 10 episodes, and the time is elapsing, and they're not bringing me in for anything. Finally, they bring me in for something for episode 8 of the second season, and it's a part of an agent at the deli, and I'm negotiating a deal. Now, I had a good week. I had a good month that month. I had already booked a couple of days on the blacklist, right, with James Spader. And this episode of Maisel, they wanted me to come in and audition for, was shooting the same day as the blacklist. So I called my agent. I said, I don't know if I should go in on this because it's the same day as the black. And the agent went, go in anyway. It's a chance for them to see you again. Now, that works beautifully if you don't book the job. But I booked the job. So now I'm booked on Maisel and Blacklist at the same time.
Oh, no. What do?
I stress, I panic, phone calls back and forth, crisis of the century, summit meetings, and a decision had to be made. And I had to make the decision to do the Blacklist. So they had to call Maisel back and say, you wanted him, but you can't have him.
You are a pain in the ass. They're like, this freaking guy, he doesn't follow the words. He's on the blacklist. You're on their blacklist. You're on their
He's wanted by everyone.
Exactly. I'm convinced that they hate my guts now even more than ever. So then the next episode is episode 9, nothing for Dave. Okay. And now I figure I've blown it. This is it. It's done. Episode 10, the last episode of the season.
Yes.
They bring me in.
They do.
They audition me for a role. I leave the casting director's office. I go to Eisenberg's. I order a tuna fish sandwich. I sit down, I'm eating my sandwich. I get a call from the agent. Can you go back to the casting office? They want to read you for another part. I go back, I read for the other part. I leave. I get a call from the agent. The part you just read for, they don't want you for that, but they want you for something else.
Jesus.
And you don't have to read for it. They already booked you. You're in. So that was it. So then I went and I did the scene.
And then you became Miles Shapiro, the MC of the Catskills. And I want to get, David, we're going to talk about a bit like the different settings where you guys are and where you did all this. But Ellen, I'm curious. I want to show Ken's clip. I didn't do that.
I do want to add one thing real quick.
Yes, please. So, 2 things.
Here's the thing. So the role I go in for, it's one of the bookers at the deli. And I'm in wardrobe, and I've seen them shooting at the deli for over a year before I was ever, invited in audition. And I said to the costume person, "You guys wouldn't happen to shoot on 82nd Broadway?" Just, oh yeah,
that deli that was there, yeah,
right. That's my building. So it was the easiest commute. It was the easiest.
So what is the deli, Ellen, that they're shooting in?
Was it called Artie's?
Yeah, it was Artie's Delicatessen.
Artie's. It's on Broadway between 82nd and 83rd, and it was vacated a few years ago. And that whole production is so talented, from Amy and Daniel on down. I mean,
explain who Amy and Daniel are for people who are in the business.
Amy Sherman Palladino and her husband Daniel Palladino are the creators, and they're also the writers. They are completely hands-on producers of that show. Amy is also known for not Gossip Girl, Gilmore Girls. Excuse me. She comes from, her father was a writer, so she comes from that pedigree.
Her father he was a comic. He worked on ships.
Oh, I'm not IMDb. I know he was a writer for a couple of shows.
No, he was a ship comic.
She is very sharp.
Yeah.
She is. I mean, from what these guys said, it's so on point. Everything there is so specific, from like when they hand me, it's got to be pastrami. It can't have a bite in it. It's got to be a knish. If I gave this guy a rugula, I mean, the level of detail, the props, it's just incredible. So the words, it's all part of it. It's all part of the detail. Again, the costume, what they look like, the mannerisms. I mean, I don't wear my wedding ring because it's too modern, so like obviously I'm a waitress, so I come with nothing. They give me the little earrings, and again, the hair, makeup, which we could talk about. But
I do want to we will talk about
very, 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 very specific. And by the way, I have seen, because I've stood there long enough, where Rachel, and I do a lot of scenes where it's Rachel and Mrs. Maisel and Susie, and the script person is right there, and they're always asking for line, or Amy will say, you didn't say, I can't do the gig. You said I won't do the gig or something. She'll totally correct them, even the stars.
Is she OCD? Do you think she has a little OC? Is
No,
she okay?
She's really successful.
I know.
I would be the same way. It's just interesting because you'll have my guests are my comedy friends who have landed gigs, roles on The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. A shout out, Tom is watching. Want to say people tune in, and they're all from all over the place. Tom, and then we got Tim. Thank you guys for tuning in. Very specific. And then you see shows like Larry David and Curb Your Enthusiasm, where they welcome just go for it. Here's your little line in the sand and just go. I would do better with that. I would be like Catholic school. Oh my God, I missed a word. I'm going to get in trouble. Sister Teresa's going to hit me and punch me in the face. I just get like, oh. So I want to show a clip of you playing the agent Dougie.
Dougie Fresh.
Dougie Fresh. Here's Ken Perlstein. It's a short little clip. I wish we had more, but it's just
You sent me both clips, right?
I only have one clip of you, and then the big. That's all I got. Maybe I missed something. Hold on. Here we go.
Dougie, Margie? From way back. She's doing the telethon.
I'll vouch for my girl.
Done deal.
Okay, because it was so short, we're going to play it again.
Dougie, Margie?
From way back. She's doing the telethon.
I'll vouch for my girl.
Done deal.
But you know what? I think 3 times lucky. Sorry.
Dougie, Margie?
From way back. She's doing the telethon.
I'll vouch for my girl.
Done deal.
There's more of Ken in that scene because I know that scene. That's a funny scene. And the reason I know that scene is because I was supposed to play the other agent in that scene.
You were supposed to play Kenny?
I was, whatever the other guy's name was. That was the one I booked, and I was doing the Blacklist that week.
The other scene I sent you was episode 1 of season 3. I was in there with the other booker, and I was in there with another really good actor named Andrew Polk, who plays Fred, who always talks to Susie, which is Alex. So we were all, there's a scene where it's she's at the army barracks, and Susie's like, she's what should she ask for? And he goes, guys, what should she ask for? And the guy Kenny goes, she has to have a weird ask. And he goes, a weird ask? A weird ask. An ask, like what? Like, and then we go through all these things, and I'm like, oh yeah, Lenny Fring had the length of rope and a copy of Grey's Anatomy. And he's like, I got to meet this Lenny Fring, And so we're just rattling off all this stuff. And it was a great scene. It was a lot.
I saw her on the phone with you have the weird ask. Alex was on the phone saying, I got to have and she was talking to you. Oh yeah, that was a big clip. I did see that, but I wanted more of you. The other 2 were talking. So I decided to play the one of mostly of you 3 times. It's 21 seconds.
And wait, I'm sorry, Ken, I was there. What day you were there? You were on set.
Yeah.
Right. You were walking out, and I was like, Ken? So we
oh my God, it was.
I had the whole costume thing on, so.
I wish I would have known, but it was great. It was a great experience. But you see how clippy the dialect is. It's really.
I did the show last week, and it was a little intel, but Jane Lynch, it's publicized, is on this season. And it was funny when they were talking about dialogue, they used the term Maisel it up, which is that quickness They've that of the way that they speak. If you notice, they all speak everybody speaks very
It's got to be so.
Very staccato.
Maiselness.
And if
Because all the characters.
Maisel it up. That's what I'm
right.
sorry.
Maisel
Maisel it
a
up.
table full of the characters, and you're all working together. It's really got to be timed perfectly with each person.
Because it's implied, but not actually said, that all the characters are meth addicts. So that's why there's a constant stream of fast dialogue.
Done deal. Great. I saw her at the, yeah, she's great. Fine. Done deal. I got her.
You know what interests me, though? I'm blown away by how great a comedic actress Rachel is, Mrs. Maisel, because we're all performers. She's not a stand-up comic. And in this role, she has I am blown away by her talent. Now, have you folks had scenes with her? I know you have, Ellen. Tell me the scenes you've had and what it's like. Who have you worked with and what scenes? How does it feel? Paint me that picture.
Rachel is very sweet. She makes eye contact with everybody. She walks in, she says hello. She really looks like a Cupid doll. She's got the perfect porcelain skin. She looks great in everything that they put her in. And I actually got to talk to her. She did this, she had won the SAG Award a couple of years ago. And I don't know if you guys remember, when she received her award for 2 solid minutes, and they get 3 minutes to thank people, she thanked the background actors and how important everybody is to that show. I mean, she went on. If you ever get a chance to Google it, it was so warming. And it wasn't just like, oh, thank you. It was like a 2-minute, really like, we are so grateful for the long hours that everybody puts in. So I said to her, I said, that was amazing. And thank you so much. And she was like, I wish I didn't have to even point that out because you guys are so important. She really comes from a place of gratefulness, but she's very
all down to earth. I mean,
we're
seeing her. That clip you just showed. So beforehand, it was towards the end of the day, and Alex comes up. She goes, we're just talking because they're from Chicago, and my wife went to Highland Park, which is where Rachel went. So we're all talking about Chicago and all that stuff. And Alex is like, "Do you want to run lines? Because we're up next. Let's run some lines." And we're just shooting the shit and running lines, like And I'm like, "That's
normal people."
Yeah, like normal people. I'm like, that's Alex Borstein. Oh my God, she's running lines with me.
It's funny, that was not my experience. Rachel and Alex were monsters when I worked. I was instructed not to make eye contact, and it was very uncomfortable.
Here's that guy again. He's back again. I heard you auditioned for the role of Mrs. Maisel's mother. Is that true too? They wanted you for that too, David?
Yeah, they wanted me for everything. No, but the thing about Rachel's a sweet. They're very nice people, and when I did that Miles Shapiro thing, so then Mrs. Maisel gets up and she performs her stand-up act, and the thing about there's one take. They need one take. She did it a couple of times. The audience laughed, but they needed one take clean with no audience reaction for editing purposes. So she had to get up there and do her act to total dead silence. And she said to me, she said, even though she knows she says, this really, I hate this so much because, she's doing stand-up and not getting any reaction at all.
Well, you're used, you know what that feels like.
I know these are open mics in the lantern,
nightly for years, but she does. So. Yeah.
Well, that's how we are on the Zoom. That's how it feels when you have to perform on Zoom. It took a while to get comfortable with that, right? Hey, you guys are talking.
I'm not comfortable with it at all. So
it's off. Well, I've learned how to do a little crowd work with all of it. If you're listening and you want to, you have a question, these are my buddies, Ken Perlstein, Dave Konig, and Ellen Carris, all who've landed roles on The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Feel free to email us, make your comments. I know you guys are excited. And if you share this, and it should be going live on my event page as well as Hanging with Langan group and my feeds. So if that's not happening for you, let me know, but I think it is now. I'm going to put you guys just in the back room a moment while I take a commercial break. Just momentarily. We'll be right back. Your regularly scheduled programming. So what I want to do, we'll take your questions. Thank you. I see you guys putting those up already. Great. I'll be doing the show Hanging with Langan at this new time. We're going to keep this going, see how that works for everybody. 9 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays and 6 p.m. Pacific. Next week, I have the author of Women of the White House, Amy Russo, an illustrated story of the First Ladies of the United States of America. It's really cool. I love this stuff. Great gifts for everyone. And also, if you like the shows, I keep them coming for you. We'll give you great quality shows, and by we, I mean me, from academics to alcoholics, curmudgeons and comics and cooks. So it's all free, but I ask, pay what you can, if you can. Only if you can. These are tough times for everybody, but some of you are making a boatload of money. So pay what you can, if you can, at paypal.me/Mo Langan and Venmo @Mo Langan. Or you can subscribe, a monthly subscription at patreon.com/Maureen Langan. But what do I get when I subscribe? You get backstage treats and chats and dish the dirt and things that you won't get. Extras. I give you extras. And at $25, I will give you a "Don't Make Me Hate You" t-shirt, which is over my shoulder. And if you prefer, see, look at this. You can go to my store too at maureenlangan.com. and get masks, t-shirts, coasters, get cool in the waves of the pool. Here we have "Don't Make Me Hate You" masks, because you don't want to hate people. They make you hate them. You're a victim. Speaking of which, my dry bar comedy special coming out early summer. It's called "Don't Make Me Hate You." And very excited. Yay! Yay! All right. So those are ways you can support, and everything's at Maureen Langan. Really appreciate it, you guys. Never met Ken, but hello, Ken. Nice to see you, Ellen, Maureen, and Dave. I got to see what names are associated with these. If you're watching this on Hanging with Langan group page, please go to streamyard.com/Facebook and just click on the blue line, and I'll be able to see your name associated with your comments. But we can still see your comments. All right, let's bring back our guest. She plays the waitress in the diner. I think it's the stage diner on The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, my good friend. And you can find her at Greek. Well, she'll tell us where you can. This stupid smelly thing. Hold on. Ladies and gentlemen, my buddy Ellen Carris. Hi, Ellen.
Hi, sweetie. Yep, at Greek Chick Comic on Twitter and Instagram. Yep, that's me.
There we go. EllenCarris.com, Greek Chick Comic. And you play the waitress.
I play one of the waitresses. And I just want you to know also that unlike the guys, I do have to suffer for my art. And for the last 3 seasons, I've had to get my hair chopped off for the part because all the women have to have short hair. And this last haircut was a doozy.
I saw you posting on Facebook going, "I'm not happy about this."
I morphed into a 12-year-old boy is basically what they did to me. But
you always look beautiful.
Oh, thank you. You're too kind. But yes, so that was but it's worth it. My husband's like, "You come home crying all the time." I'm like, "But it's on Mrs. Maisel. I got to do it."
Because that was the style of the times, right?
Right. I think long hair was the 70s, and I'm not quite sure we're going to get that far. So we're like in 1961 this season. So.
And how many times have you appeared on the show as the waitress?
First season. Season 2. I was on. I was on once, or maybe once, and then maybe another episode really quick. And then last season I was on 3 times. And this season, so far, I've filmed twice. So
that's so exciting. When is it debuting again? When is it coming?
I don't know exactly, but if I had to take a guess, I would think toward the end of the year, probably about December.
Oh, wow. We have to wait that long.
I think so. Last year it was December also. Yeah, that would be my guess. They're probably going to finish, if all things go well, what are we in, April? Probably like end of June, maybe July. I don't know, because I remember last year or 2 years ago they went to the Catskills. They did Paris one year. I don't think they're doing any traveling this year.
Oh man, that is fantastic.
Yeah. I don't get out of the diner, but other people I'm talking about.
Oh, man. Oh, it's so exciting. All right, let's bring back the other 2. Ken Perlstein, he plays Dougie, the booker on The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. How many scenes have you done so far, Ken? How many episodes?
I've done 2 episodes. So,
wow.
Season 3 was weird because season 3, I did the first episode of that season, and then they told me to block out dates for 2 other episodes. They didn't end up calling me in for that, and then so far this year, they said there's nothing written in as of yet.
Well, I think it's a very good role, and I think you play it really well, and you really stand out, and I love seeing you in the diner. And let's bring in Maisel Shapiro, the from the Catskills.
Yes.
Friend Dave Konig. So I want to hear too, like, Dave, you play the Catskills MC, and I have heard this has been feedback. Some people have been upset by how some Jews are portrayed on The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. This is just stuff I've read because you have the classy family like the Maisels, and then you have Kevin Pollak. Hey, yeah, come here, Bumpy, yeah. And I am not Jewish, but I'm from New York, so I'm Jewish. I have skills a zillion times, and I can vouch that Kevin Pollak character and his wife, they really exist. Your comment, Dave?
Me personally, my comment is speaking for all Jews everywhere.
Yeah, so I just mean your experiences about the role of the Catskills. Would you tell people that's all?
Miles Shapiro was actually in a comedy club in New York. He wasn't in the Catskills, but that doesn't matter. It's all the same shtick anyway. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
But he's clearly a Catskills comic, so you're right on the money. Totally. I was actually performing in the Catskills after not doing anything for 14 months because of the pandemic. I've had 2 gigs in the past 3 weeks. Do you know what they were? I will tell you. You don't know. It's a rhetorical question. How could you possibly know? One was I was up in the Catskills. I did a Passover show at a hotel in the Catskills for an audience of Orthodox and Hasidim.
That's fun. That's a fun gig. Good times.
And then a week later, you know where I was? I was in Provo, Utah, performing for the Mormons doing dry bar. So I went from the Hasidim to the Mormons.
Dry bar is one of the best gigs I've ever done, and I was shocked. I almost didn't do it. They call it dry bar, you guys, because it's dry. Like there's no alcohol. They're Mormons, but they really prefer you don't curse. You can, but you get warnings next to your recording for everything that you can't say God, you can't say hell or damn. You can, but you'll get these little markers. So they put it out internationally. So the more user-friendly it is, the more hits you get, the more money you make. So I'm up there. I said that Martha Stewart has single-handedly set women back hundreds of years with all this, resurgence of knitting and quilting. Stitch and bitch societies are popping up all across America. They said, could you please change stitch and bitch to stitch and snitch? I go, wait, you want me to go stitch and snitch? What am I doing? Stitch and snitch? I'm going up now. Stitch and snitch? What? So I'm very fast paced. You guys know that. So I'm like, stitch and bitch societies are popping up. I go, stitch and snitch society. But, they were the best people. I thought they were fantastic.
They're lovely people. And they sent a video saying, here's what you should avoid in your set. Don't curse, don't do this, don't do that. One of the things they said is avoid dark topics. No darkness. Evil, dark, bad.
Yeah, dark. Yeah, we got.
So I did 2 sets because you do 2 shows. The first show I closed with my classic iPhone routine. Gets a big response. I say good night, everybody. Great. Second show, I do the iPhone routine, and I feel it doesn't quite get the big response I need to get off the stage. So I rapidly pull something out of the filing cabinet that I had not planned on doing, and it's a joke I do. I will not bore you with it, but it's about how my grandparents were married for 72 years, and one died, and the other one died right after. Like they can't live without each other, and I pull the audience in, very quiet. I said, talk about true love, and then I said, granted, in their case, it was a murder-suicide, and then that gets a big laugh. So the director comes running up to me after the show. And she says, "Oh, I know exactly how I'm going to edit your shows. we're going to close with that murder-suicide joke." I said, "Great." So no dark, nothing dark, but my dry bar special will end with me saying murder-suicide. Thank you very much.
Okay, so that is part 1 of my chat with my comedy friends who have all landed roles on The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Ellen Carris, Dave Konig, and Ken Perlstein. I'll have part 2 with them, so just stay tuned for that. And don't forget to subscribe to Hangin' with Langan. It's on all the major podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, iHeart, it's all there. And follow me, MaureenLangan.com. All right, so we'll see you soon, okay? You know the routine. Bye, wig. Mwah.